Jay, please do come this side so I can see everyone. I like seeing everyone. I like seeing everybody. Gotcha. No, is it? It's not. Okay, I am going to go this way. Jai. So, I shall start off with a little story. Story time with Bhaja Govindam. It's very common, right?
The best.
Story time with Bhaja Govindam Das. It is very, very common. Oh, I got it. So, this is from Canto 10, chapter 89. Or Krishna book, chapter 89. It's a story where the sages, not necessarily the sages named Sharanya, but there were sages who were gathered together to perform some sacrifices. You know, you have yagnas, fire sacrifice, this, that, and the other. And then they were a bit confused. They started debating with each other who is supreme. Brahma, Vishnu, Mahesh. Everybody knows who they are, right? Yeah? Brahma, Vishnu, Mahesh? Brahma, Vishnu, or Shiva? They started debating who's superior. Who's the supreme? Brahma, he's the creator. Mahesh, he's the destroyer. Vishnu is maintainer. Which one's supreme out of the three? So they started debating with each other. They started sending shlokas here and there, reciting who is supreme. And then they decided, okay, you know what? We all will have shlokas, we all will have verses that will argue one or the other. Let's just find out. Let's just go to Brahma, Vishnu, Mahesh and find out who is supreme. So they sent one sage called Bhrigu Muni. Bhrigu Muni is the son of Brahma and the brother of Shiva. So they sent him to basically find out, okay, you know, you go to these personalities. I don't know, is it? It's meant to be. You go to these personalities and you find out who is supreme. You test them. Test them how? By testing whether how good they are at going above the modes of nature. Do they get agitated by the dualities of the world? So, Bhrigu Muni first goes to Brahma. Goes to Brahma, and Brahma being the father, I mean, in our culture, it's very normal to offer respects. You know, when you see a superior, what do? Bow down, pay obeisances, touch their feet, do something like that. And also, it's culture that when you have a supreme person, somebody superior to us, then what we do. I'm just going to speak like this. See, even the speaker's now intense. Okay. So this, I was going to say the speaker. But anyway, so Bhrigu Muni goes to Brahma, and he should be offering his prayers. He should be saying, glorifying Brahma, because a great personality is there. When we meet a great personality, it's custom to glorify them. It's custom to say some nice words to them. So he goes up to Brahma, and he just says, Mum. He doesn't say anything. And Brahma, knowing that Shastra says that when you meet a great personality, you should offer respects. You should offer dandavats, right? Offer obeisances. But Bhrigu didn't do that. Bhrigu Muni didn't do that. Brahma is now getting angry in the mind. He's going, how dare he not do this? But because of his intelligence, he goes, let it go. You know, he didn't say a word. He didn't do anything. He got agitated by anger because of disrespect, by dishonor. So then he decides, okay, let me go to Shiva. Let me see if Shiva gets agitated by the modes of nature. So what does he do to Shiva? Now, what do brothers usually do when they meet? They exchange nice words, they embrace each other, they hug each other, right? But Bhrigu Muni decided, I'm not going to hug you. Not only that, he says, have you seen yourself, Shiva? You've not bathed in God knows how long. Your body is full of ashes. Have you seen your hair? Like locks of hair that, you know, is like, I mean, modern days you'll say it's like chewing gum everywhere, you know? Chewing gum stuck in the hair. That's what we'd say in the modern day. And so he said, don't even come near me, Shiva. Don't even come near me. And now Shiva gets angry. It's like, How could you say this? How could you do this to me? I'm your own brother. So he picks up his trident and starts running behind Brigu. But Parvati then stops. Parvati's like, no, don't. He's your brother. Don't do anything. He's a great sage. So Brahma got agitated by anger, but it got stopped by intelligence. Shiva got agitated by anger, but it got stopped by the wife. Now Vishnu, surely the Sudarshan chakra is going to come out now, right? So then he goes to Vishnu. And Vishnu is lying down on the lap of Lakshmi. It's just lying, less resting. No, you see couples do that. Right? They just enjoy the moment, as we'd say. So he's got his head on the lap of Lakshmi. And eyes are closed, he's just relaxing. And Bhrigu Muni sees this. With Brahma, in the mind, he caused some disrespect. With Shiva, with words, he caused some disrespect. And now with Vishnu, kicks the chest of Vishnu. Right here. Right here. From the mind to the words to physical abuse. Now surely Sudarshan chakra is definitely coming out now, right? I mean, it's fighting time, right? What does Vishnu do? He opens his eyes. Lakshmi also opens her eyes and sees, oh, a great sage, Bhrigu Muni is here. They get up, they offer their obeisances, offer their respects, and then they go, oh, sorry, we didn't see you. We didn't see your arrival. Please, take the seat. And then Vishnu starts glorifying Bhrigu Muni. You're such a great Brahmana. It is our duty to wash the feet of a Brahmana. So he starts trying to wash the feet of Bhrigu Muni. And Bhrigu Muni, seeing this, he starts to become overwhelmed with ecstasy, with devotion. Here I am kicking the chest of Vishnu. And there is Vishnu, not even thinking about that, and just seeing my position as a Brahmana, I'm doing his duty, paying his respects. And like this, he became overwhelmed. And so then Bhrigu Muni decided, he went back to the sages, he narrated this whole thing. With Brahma, I offended him. Brahma got angry, but he didn't do anything. With Shiva, I offended him. Shiva got angry, and he started chasing me with a trident. Now I got scared. What will happen with Vishnu? Sudarshan chakra would come out, but I went to Vishnu anyway. I offended him. But Vishnu just gave me love. He just gave me respect. And the sages then were like, they also became overwhelmed with devotion. This is the Supreme Lord. So much full of tolerance, so much full of humility. And that's what the Supreme Lord is known by. He's known for his tolerance. He's known for his humility. And so, why did I start off with this story? Because actually, the topic that Kiran has given me is on tolerance. Now, those who know me, like Divyan Prabhu, know that I am very bad at tolerance. I am. Those who know me very well, they know that actually, when push comes to shove, like a serpent, I can spit venom. You say that. But yeah, so I'm very, very much unqualified to say anything on tolerance. But the scriptures are there. The scriptures, we can learn from the scriptures about what tolerance really means. So I beg forgiveness from those who know me very well. Because, yeah, I don't have realizations, I don't have reflections on what tolerance really means. So these kids here, they know very well what tolerance means because they tolerate their mums every single day. So I think they should be sitting here, speaking, and we should be learning from the kids what tolerance means. Don't worry, I won't put you through that.
To reveal the secret.
Reveal the secrets. Yes. So actually, when we look at the Bhagavad Gita, throughout the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna, for those of us who were on Gita Life, or those of us who have been through the Gita, we know that throughout the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna talks about qualities, divine qualities. If not every chapter, then almost every other chapter is talking about Vaishnava qualities, divine qualities. And when we look at the heart, when we go to the center of them, we see that actually tolerating the dualities of the world is very much part of all of those qualities. Tolerating the heat, because it's nice and sunny outside, but also the cold, which is not today at all. Tolerating the scorching sun, also the torrents of rain. Tolerating happiness as well as distress. Tolerating pain as well as pleasure. Throughout the Bhagavad Gita, and actually throughout Vaishnava scriptures, tolerance is seen as a very big quality that's discussed, that's mentioned many, many, many times. And actually, the Bhagavad Gita, the first instruction Krishna gives to Arjuna is on tolerance. Bhagavad Gita 2.14. Matra sparshastu kaunteya shitoshna sukha dukkhada agama piyano nitya stamsitikshasva bharata. He says, O son of Kunti, the non-permanent appearance of happiness and distress and their disappearance in due course are like the appearance and disappearance of winter and summer seasons. They arise from sense perception, O scion of Bharata, and one must learn to tolerate them without being disturbed. The point is that regardless of our material situation, regardless of who says what happens to us, Sanjeev pinched me, Sanjeev gave me a book on teaching, we have to learn to tolerate all these things and just continue on with our duty. I like picking up Sanjeev. We have to learn to just continue on with our duties. Right? So it's actually no wonder that if you look at any great Vaishnava, you see that they have so much tolerance in them. They tolerate us. Right? We say the stupidest things in front of senior devotees. This isn't a Gita Life class, but you can ask your question.
Tolerance and patience. What's the difference?
We'll go through that. Well, we'll talk about it.
Patience is when you wait for the answer.
No, it's good. It's good. No, but yeah. So yeah, there's a very... Yes, you are. All of you are actually. But yeah, so in the Srimad Bhagavatam, there's a verse that's very nicely given about how tolerance is one of the prime qualities of devotees. Titikshava karunika surida savadehinam ajata shatrava shanta sadhava sadhubhushana. This is in Canto 3. The symptoms of a sadhu are that he is tolerant, merciful, and friendly to all living entities. He has no enemies, he is peaceful, he abides by the scriptures, and all his characteristics are sublime. This is a very good famous verse about a description about sadhus, a description about advanced spiritualists. Tolerance is the first thing that gets mentioned, titikshava. It's the very first thing that gets mentioned. But Krishna talks about tolerating the dualities of the world. Right? When we think of tolerance, what do we usually think of?
People. Tolerating some people.
People. She's talking about us, by the way.
No.
But no, generally when we talk about tolerance, it's very much a negative mood, right? We're tolerating something negative that's happening. But Krishna is actually saying, when he's talking about tolerance, he's actually saying we have to tolerate the bad and the good. Right? The distress and the happiness. The sadness and the happiness, or the joy. The pain as well as the pleasures that we get in life. We have to tolerate both. Why would we tolerate happiness. Isn't that the whole point? We just want to be happy in life. But this is part of the duality of the world. Happiness and distress are both part of the dualities of the world. So anyway, let's focus on tolerating the negatives, because that's probably what is more on people's minds. Like, Kiran did this today, Sanjeev did this yesterday, Nisha did this the other day. Ugh. Right? But there are so many different miseries that we have in the world. And the scriptures categorize them in three ways. Adibautic, Adidevic, and Adhyatmic. Adibautic is miseries from other living entities. You know, people, maybe there's bed bugs, tolerating them. Adidevic is tolerating natural occurrences. Heat, cold, earthquakes, things like that. So Adidevic. And then Adhyatmic is actually tolerating the body and the mind. Illnesses that happen. Living in the past. Living in the future. The anxieties that we have. The stresses that we take on in life. These are three categories of miseries that we actually have. And the scriptures say that we have to learn to tolerate them. We have to learn to look beyond the miseries. And so when we talk about tolerance, we're talking about this idea of patiently just accepting the material situation that we have. Or patiently enduring, as we might say. We just patiently endure through what is happening. Kiran will know this example very well. When we think of what happens when an orange gets squeezed, what comes out? Orange juice. What happens when you squeeze a mango?
Pulp.
Mango pulp comes out. So whatever is inside us is what comes out. Whenever Praneshri Radha gets squeezed, whatever comes out is what is actually inside her.
Devotion.
Whenever Zankana gets squeezed, whatever is inside her, the mood, the level of tolerance inside her is what is going to come out. So in this way, tolerance is something that we learn to basically mold what is inside us in a way that is actually very conducive, very supportive of our spiritual growth. So tolerance is about giving the same response to whatever comes in life. If you squeeze an orange, if on the inside you're also an orange, then what's going to come out is just orange. On the outside we can be very nice, we can be very sweet, but the inside we're like, you know, this flower garland got given to Bhaja Govindandas. Why didn't it get given to me? I know Divyambaka was thinking that.
Nice garland, actually. Who made the garland, by the way?
Multiple people. Nisha isn't going to help out a bit. Mayuri. So when Krishna is talking about this idea of tolerance, he's not talking about just letting go. Right? Isn't it? In the world today, people, especially mums, will do this. Children call their mum. This person did this happened, that happened. And then it's like, mum will say, let it go. Let it go.
Or the other way around.
Or the children say it to the mum.
No, or the mum calls you.
Oh.
That's why I'm good.
Is that where they got inspiration for Frozen?
Maybe. But this idea is just let it go. But when Krishna is saying tolerate, he's not talking about just letting it go. He's actually saying develop a higher consciousness. Actually be the orange on the inside so that when you squeeze the orange juice comes out. Be the actual spiritual person inside, so when you get squeezed, outside we might be chanting 16 rounds, outside we might be following the 4 regs, outside we might be doing agarbatti divo daily. But what happens when we get squeezed? Boom! Volcano erupts. pressure cooker goes off.
And a whistle blows.
And the whistle blows.
3
And
times.
then the whole house comes running. What happened? What happened? So when Krishna is saying tolerate, he's not saying keep it inside you and just let it go. Just try and let it go. Just try and forgive and forget. He's saying actually become spiritual on the inside. Raise your consciousness and develop a deeper character. So in the scriptures, there's actually 2 very nice examples, very practical examples. I'm not going to go through like great personalities. There's 2 very practical examples that we can learn from. So the first one, those who know the Shikshashtakam, which are 8 verses given by Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, comes in there actually. The verse is Trinadapi Sunichana Tarorapi Saheshnuna Amanina Manadena Kirtanya Sadahari. Trinadapi Sunichana. He's saying, be more humble than a blade of grass. Tarorapi Saheshnuna. Be more tolerant than a tree. Amanina Manadena. Give all respect to others, but expect none in return. Kirtanya Sadahari. In that way, we can actually chant God's names all the time. But specifically, what we're going to focus on is Tarorapi Saheshnuna. Be as tolerant as a tree. Why a tree?
Because it tolerates all the weathers.
Nobody? Okay.
Because even if it rains, the tree doesn't have like an umbrella to cover it.
Okay, so it tolerates the weather, whether it's torrenting rain, whether it's blazing sunshine. It tolerates any of those?
Legs.
No, I'm saying cutting the branches is tolerant.
We cut the tree's branches.
Flowers.
We pluck the tree. Send you? Oh, sorry, I thought it was you speaking. Oh, sorry.
The tree doesn't hit back.
The tree doesn't hit back. What is the tree giving? Go on.
And it's not offensive, but the tree also allows animals to pee on it.
Yeah. The tree tolerates so much, right? For our joy, we cut the tree's branches because we want to make way for big buildings. For our joy, we pluck the fruits because then we can satisfy our tongue. For our joy, we take the pets for a walk and let it pee on the trees. The tree doesn't do anything in return. But what does the tree give in return?
Shade.
Shade. So to, huh? Yeah. Oxygen. Okay, oxygen. Fruits, flowers, the wood, the bark that we use for so many things, furnitures that we create. Huh? Paper. And actually, I did some research on this as well. Trees also help improve mental health and also physical health.
How physical? How physical?
I just did the research. You can do the in-depth research.
How many medical plants?
Sorry?
Many medical herbs or plants?
Is it okay? Yes.
Yeah, and also it's quite it's anti-cancerous as well. Just by the trees' presence is also anti-cancerous. Like, going for a walk in the forest also helps with that. So many benefits we get from the tree, but it tolerates so much. When is the last time that a tree came to you and said, Kiran, you just hit me, you just etched my name. Kiran was here on the tree. Kiran Hart, sorry Prabhu, I don't know your name.
What's your name?
Govin.
Govind.
Govind. Kiran Hart Govind. When was the last time the tree said, you know what, Govind, your wife just etched your name on my tree, on myself. I'm not going to give you any fruits. I'm not going to give you any shade. When was the last time a tree did that? I mean, if you've seen one, then please do let me know, because I've not. The tree just tolerates so much. It gives everything it can. And even when a tree is dying, what happens? The tree's wood still gets used. It doesn't say, okay, I'm dying, nobody looked after me, I'm not going to give anything, the tree still gives its wood. So that's the first one. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was saying, be as tolerant as a tree. We do whatever we want with a tree. We neglect it. We use it for our own benefit. But the tree just tolerates. Because that's its selfless nature. And it doesn't just tolerate, it actually just gives whatever it can in return. Even whilst dying, it just wants to keep giving. So that's the first example. Second example is that in Canto 11, I think it is. Yeah, Canto 11. That of Mother Earth. Think about Mother Earth. It tolerates so much, just even if we just think about it. What do people do to Mother Earth? We drill holes for oil. We clear out the land to make way for whatever it is, buildings, skyscrapers, deforestation. We do so much to Mother Earth. But when was the last time the Earth said, I'm not going to give the crops that you're growing any nutritions? Irrespective of what we do to Earth, Earth is still giving us everything again. She's looking after us. The crops we eat, right? Whether it's fruit, vegetables, whatever. The houses we live in, how are these houses made? From Earth. How are our bodies made? From Earth. We can do so much to Earth, but Mother Earth never forgets her duty as a mother. She always provides. So these are two examples given. You can see that these examples, the tree and Mother Earth, actually has no limit to their tolerance. They don't go, I've tolerated for 2 years now, now I'm going to stop tolerating and now I'm going to give everything up and, I'm going to now scream at Zankana because, you did all these bad things to me. Now it's my time for revenge. Now it's my time to say something back. No, they don't do that. They just continue tolerating no matter what it takes. See, there's two examples from scriptures. Now, this is very high, right? Like, how many of us sitting here are like, I want to learn how many of us sitting here are like, I can have limitless tolerance. Just like the earth. You can have limitless tolerance.
No, but I'm thinking how to do it.
How to do it?
You're in the right place.
Impossible.
I don't know. Impossible, we say. But the scriptures give examples. Think of Haridas Thakur. I'm not going into the rabbit hole right now. We can. Zankana doesn't.
Praneshwari Mataji's already done the story.
Oh yeah, she did. I'd say I'm not there yet. Like I said at the start, I can spit venom. I'm that person who will go, I've tolerated for 2 years, now it's my turn to pounce back. But we live in a very fast world. Right? And this is how we learn, actually, how to tolerate these things. We live in a very fast world. People have 1 day plans, people have 1 year plans, people have 10-year plans, right? Common question, where do you see yourself in 10 years' time?
At the manor.
At the manor, full-time, brahmachari. But what happens when reversals happen to these people? What happens when a reversal happens to somebody with a 1 day plan? If you made a plan, like tomorrow on Sunday, this is what I'm going to do. And then something happened and it spoiled your plan. What's your reaction? Generally, people will get very angry, very annoyed, like frustrated. I planned my day like this, and now you're coming in and changing what my plan was. Frustrated, right? What happens to the exact same situation for somebody who is planning for 10 years? Okay, this happened. It's a setback, but I've still got, a long way to go. My vision is not of what I do today, my vision is for what I do in 10 years' time. So you can see those with a longer term vision, they actually tolerate things much better. And so when we look at the scriptures, we see those personalities who actually have the greatest level of tolerance are those who don't have a vision for today. They don't have a vision for tomorrow. They don't have a vision for the next year. They don't have a vision for this life. But they have a vision for eternity. Their plans are not based on the one-day plan. They're not based on the one-year plan, nor the one lifetime plan. Their plans are based on the eternal plan. So what I'm saying here is that one way that we can look at tolerance is by expanding our vision from being today, this year, this lifetime, to looking at what will happen in eternal life. How can I progress in eternal life? We all make so many plans. And when something goes against that plan, that's when we come to the question of we have to learn to tolerate. But if our plan is an eternal plan, then small things happen here and there. But they're not a part of the bigger picture. They're a very minute part. And then we will say, okay, it's very difficult to tolerate still, isn't it? Like when that person comes up to us and screams at us. But let's look at another live example. Let's look at a mother and a child. A mother and a child, let's go. Mother tolerates the child in the womb for 9 months. What is the child doing? Mom, mom, mom. No. Kicking in the womb. Punching in the womb. Turning, twisting here and there, causing so much pain to the mothers. But the mothers tolerate, right? You tolerate. You tolerated Mayuri for so many years. Not just in the womb, but even after. Why? Because you have a vision of a future with the child. When the child is young, also it's not like a smooth sail now, right? Because when the child is young, they also start screaming at you. If they're a baby, they might pee on you, they might poo on you, they do so many things. But you tolerate out of love, out of compassion. And because you have this vision that, yes, they're doing this now, but later on, it won't stay like this. Imagine if the mother has a short-term view. She's only thinking about the today. That child will become hell for the mother. And then you get into all sorts of things that we don't want to get into. The problem is that the vision is small. Okay, let's take a child, right? Somebody who's going to school, a schoolboy, schoolgirl. We as parents encourage our children, like, stop playing, study, your exams are coming up. How many of us had that? Or how many of us do that with our kids?
Why you just looking there, Bopa?
I was also looking at the bunch of them. But we encourage our children to tolerate a small material anxiety of studying when they don't want to. They just want to play. They just want to go out with their friends. But we encourage them to study. Why? Because it's better for their future. Again, we're thinking of the long-term vision again. Instead of the parents tolerating it, this time you're forcing the kids to learn tolerance. So this idea of tolerance for a bigger plan is quite normal. It's something we do every day, actually. Why do we go to work? Because at the end of the week, end of the month, we're working for that paycheck. We get the paycheck, we pay off the bills. Now imagine Govind just said to you tomorrow, I'm not going to work because I have to tolerate so much. I have to wake up early, I have to go to work, and I have to come back. No, it doesn't cut it, right? We look at the long-term vision.
Say what?
Uh-oh.
We look at the long-term vision. So tolerance itself is not a very amazing quality, actually, because we practice it every day in different ways. A mother practices it, a father practices it, children practice it or are forced to practice it. Throughout life, an employee practices it. Arjun practiced it. So I'm sitting here talking about tolerance, and now I'm saying that all of you guys have learned how to tolerate anyway. So what's the difference? We had the example of Mother Earth, we had the example of the tree. Limitless tolerance. But then when we come to mothers, when we come to children, they also practice tolerance to some degree. So, would you like to sit here?
Not yet.
Not yet. You're just tolerating me.
Practicing tolerance.
So tolerance is not actually an amazing quality. It's just an everyday quality. So why is Krishna emphasizing tolerance so much? Why do the scriptures emphasize tolerance so much? Because the tolerance we practice is actually very material tolerance. We're tolerating for material success in the world. But what the scriptures are looking at is tolerating for spiritual progress. And that is what is amazing about tolerance in the scriptures. Because we practice tolerance day in, day out. When we go to work, when we go to school, have to tolerate the teacher, right? Or do you love your teachers? No? No? We have to tolerate the teachers, we have to tolerate fellow colleagues, we have to tolerate the boss, we have to tolerate parents. But tolerance in the divine form is tolerating for spiritual progress, not for material success. So how does one practice tolerance for spiritual progress? I'll give 3 things. Right? So the first one is whatever I get is for my improvement. The second thing, whatever happens is according to Krishna's plan. And the third thing is whatever the result, let me receive it with love. So whatever I get is for my learning. Whatever happens is according to Krishna's plan. And whatever the result it is, we receive it with love. Okay, so what are these 3 things? So, whatever I get is for my improvement. I mean, most of us understand the concept of karma, right? This idea that whatever I give out to the world is what I get. If I do good in the world, I get good reactions. If I do bad in the world, I get If I punch Govind on the arm, I get maybe. But I get something bad in return. If I shower Navneet with love, I get I get a shower of love. Okay, he's my friend now. But yeah, so this idea that whatever we give is what we get back. Why does karma exist? Is it just a transaction? Just so that we have a transaction in life? What's the reason for karma?
To burn off your actions.
Burn off our actions, okay. But every day we produce newer and newer karma. So when do we finish burning off? If you started this life with 100 karma points, how many karma points have you accrued in this life versus burnt off?
Is it that blueprint thing?
way you relate your karmas to God.
Kind of not. Karma is there to help us learn, right? See, as parents, you know this. When your child does something good, what do you do? Praise them, shabashi, give them a chocolate. But when they do something bad, what happens? You scold them, you tell them off. Why? Because you want the child to learn. So in the same way, karma, Krishna gives us karma to help us learn. Sometimes we then go, why do bad things happen to good people? But if we understand that this world, this idea of karma, is for our learning, then we can understand that, okay, something bad is happening because I must have done something bad. And as you know, those who follow Vaishnava traditions or Vedic traditions, we understand that there's more than one life. So that could have happened previous life. But karma in itself, whatever happens to us, right, whatever I get, is because Krishna wants me to learn something. Maybe it's learning tolerance by deciding to come here and then listening to Bhaja Govindam Das speak. So much tolerance. Now you regret coming here, I know. Or it might be our friend who just screamed at us for no apparent reason. It's like, why did they scream at me? Or it might be the family members that we give so much of our time and energy to, and we get zero reciprocation in return. Well, there must be some reason for it. What are we learning from it? That's the question. And just like a school system, right? In Britain, those who have gone to school in the UK, you'll be used to a school system where you actually, whether you pass or fail the year, you go to the next year anyway, isn't it? If Navneet fails his exams, he still goes on to the next year. Well, although you passed. But if you failed, you still would have gone to the next year. Just a little secret between you.
Don't say that.
But in India, what happens?
You have to maintain.
You have to retake the year.
Even Mauritius.
Even Mauritius.
That's why I say to him, and you're saying no.
And this is karma. That's how karma works. This world is a school, actually. And the process of karma is the education system of the world. But an Indian education system. So if you don't learn your lesson, the first time something happens, what's going to happen? You're going to have to keep going through it again and again and again and again. And again. Until you learn your lesson. So if there's something that we don't want happening in our life, we have to find out what is that lesson that I'm meant to learn. Because if it keeps coming back, chances are you've not learnt your lesson. So that's the first thing, right? Everything that happens, or whatever we get, is just for our learning. It's just for our improvement. Second thing, whatever happens is according to Krishna's plan. There's my plan, there's your plan, and then there's Krishna's plan. Oftentimes we say, our plan is the best. Bhavesh has the best plan ever. He's going to go to every town and village and he's going to play the mridanga and he's going to become a great devotee.
Sounds good.
Sounds good. But then Krishna has his plan. Oftentimes, even as devotees, even as practicing spiritualists or those who follow traditions, religion, we think, you know, I've got the best plan to even come to Krishna. This is my plan to come to Krishna. These are the things I'm going to do. These are the services I'm going to take up. And I'm going to come to Krishna. But then Krishna throws a googly for those who love cricket. No? This idea, so a googly, would you like to explain?
That's a rabbit hole you didn't know.
A googly is basically when, I can't explain the cricket term, but it's basically you got given something that looked like something, but it actually became something else. So you got thrown something, you got given something, you thought this was really good for me, but actually it was totally opposite. And Krishna's plan can do that. We can come into Krishna consciousness, we can come and, come in association with devotees and be like, okay, this is our plan, every day we're going to chant, we're going to do this, we're going to do all these different things. And then Krishna has his plan and he does something totally random and different in our life. Creates a reversal in our life. But hang on a minute. My plan was I'm chanting 4 rounds today. My plan was to chant 8 rounds from tomorrow. And now this happened. But we have to understand that we think our plan was the best plan. But Krishna's plan is not just the perfect plan. It's not just the best plan. But it's perfectly tailored to each of us based on our situation in such a way that brings us closest to Krishna the best. Take an example. Take somebody who is very much materially attached to their family. What would happen if, the best way for them to come to Krishna is to detach from the family, right? So what would the best way be? It would be something like somehow create so much friction that the attachment just cuts. And then, now my attachment to family, but it's a hostile relationship now. So I go my way, I go down the bhakti path, and they go their way. I mean, if we're talking about detachment, that's actually one of the best ways, is to just cut the relationship. Krishna can force it if he wants to. But Krishna doesn't do that. Because what would happen if those relationships that we're so attached to just get cut off? We then also get cut off from God. Because we're so attached to family that, in that example, that Krishna will be like, okay, you're trying to come to Krishna, but Krishna just cut your ties off with your family. Krishna just completely uprooted everything that you existed for. Because people who are so attached to family, they practically live for family, right? Now, if Krishna just takes it right from underneath your feet, then what's going to happen? You're also going to lose faith in Krishna. And actually, when you look at a lot of atheists, and I know Divyama Prabhu actually met one many, many months ago, we spoke about the tire thing. Then a lot of atheists, they used to be believers of God before. Mm-hmm. But then something happens, some reversal happens, and then they move away.
So often if they lose somebody, sometimes that's when, yeah.
When they lose somebody as well. So Krishna doesn't generally do that because he understands that actually, Zankana, you're so attached to family. If I were to just rip family from underneath your feet, then you're also going to go away from me. And so what Krishna does is he uses our attachment in such a way that it helps us come closer to Krishna. So instead of pursuing the material attachment for material attachment's sake, Krishna might show us a brief taste of dukhalayam shashvatam, this idea that this world is temporary and a miserable place. He might do something in the relationship to cause a bit of friction, not so much that everything breaks apart. He might do something to create a tension that makes us see and realize that actually, yes, I know I'm attached to my family, but this is the nature of the world. It's not a nice place. Even the family that I'm attached to, not everything is smooth sailing with the family. There are difficulties there. Because the last thing Krishna wants is for us to detach from our material life and also not get attached to the spiritual life. And just because it came up, some people we see, yes, they might even be devotees, they might be practicing, they might be great spiritual people, but then something happens in their life, somebody passes away and they lose all faith. Did they go away from God? Did God's plan fail, backfire? What we have to understand is that sometimes people may look like they're very much attached to God, but their attachment is not spiritual. It's not actually for spiritual life, for Krishna. And I can speak this because this is something I'm speaking that I have a realization of. When I first came into Krishna consciousness, I was very much attached to the people that I was with. That was kind of my Krishna consciousness. And I thought I was growing as a devotee, I was doing all these wonderful things. And then something happened, and like that, I went away from Krishna. I moved away. I decided, you know what, the spiritual life is not for me. I'm not getting the joy that I was thinking I was getting from spiritual life. But what I realized later was that I wasn't attached to Krishna. I wasn't growing my attachment to spiritual life. I went away because Krishna's path for me to come closer was to get away from the material attachment, to reduce that material attachment that I had. So then when I come back to Krishna externally, it's actually for Krishna. So sometimes that might happen to us. Sometimes you might feel like the situation, you know, is Krishna really there? And we might go away. We might stop doing the puja. The religious puja we do 10 minutes every day in the morning. We might even stop doing that. But Krishna is trying to help us come closer. Third thing. So I guess just recapping on that one. So Krishna's plan is always perfectly created in a way to help us come closer. We may not see it. It's like a jigsaw puzzle, right? If you think of a jigsaw puzzle. 100-piece jigsaw puzzle. Have you guys played jigsaw? 100 pieces. 1,000 pieces? 1,000-piece jigsaw puzzle. You create a few things here, you create a few things there, you create a few things there. Then your mum comes into the room. What the heck are you doing? Like, this makes no sense. But then, as more and more of the jigsaw puzzle gets created, then more and more makes sense. And that's Krishna's plan. He's looking at the whole picture. He's got the jigsaw puzzle, and he's got the full picture. He's got the box right there next to it. And he's going, I'm going to take this piece here, this piece here. I know to Lee this piece isn't going to make sense, but I need to put this in place because I've found it and I know where it goes. So I'm going to place that. Or what's it called? I think it's called crocheting. Crocheting, the thing where you have, it's not knitting, but it's like it's kind of like knitting, but around crocheting, yeah. So crocheting is where you're creating a nice picture, a design on one side, correct me, and then if you look at the back, it's just full of messy threads going here, there, everywhere. Krishna is looking at it with the nice picture. He's creating a nice picture. We're looking at it from the bottom and it's like, very nice. You know, because our kid made it, right? What's your name? Ashwin. Ashwin made it. So you're going to say very nice, right? Very, very nice. But actually, when we think about it, it's like, yeah, this one stays over here. Because we're looking at it from the bottom. But if we look at it from Krishna's vision, from the eternal vision, we see that Krishna's plan is perfect. It's tailored to us, and it's perfect for us. So that can help with tolerance. And the third thing, which ties it all together, what's the third thing? Whatever the result, let me receive it with love. So we talked about karma being there for us to learn. We talked about how there's Krishna's plan, right? Karma is only acting according to Krishna's plan. Everything that's happening is according to Krishna's plan. So then it comes to this mood of tolerance, which is that Krishna's plan has come through Mayuri's mum to me today. But this is Krishna's gift. Why should I have any animosity to Mayuri's mum for being the postman who's delivered Krishna's message to me? Because the gift has come from Krishna. The plan is Krishna's. He's the one giving it. And the gift, whatever Mayuri's mum has given me, is also Krishna's. When was the last time the postman came? He gave you a bill, right? Electricity bill. I'd say I'll use electricity these days because that's very, very expensive these days, right? £1,000. Are you kidding me, postman? Take this back. When was the last time we do that? We don't, right? Because we understand that the postman's job is just to deliver. So how could I ever have any animosity? How can I ever have any revenge? How can I have anything against Govind? When all Govind is doing is just giving me what Krishna wants to give me, based on what I need to learn. If I need to learn to be patient, then something's going to happen in life. Somebody's going to do something in life that is going to agitate me and make me impatient. Because it's only in situations where we lean towards being impatient that we can learn to be patient. If somebody needs to learn to be quiet, then naturally situations are going to be created where their speaking ability gets affected and they are forced to be quiet. There's actually a nice devotee, most of us will know him actually, Nikhil Gohil. Yeah, he's a great kirtan singer, right? Bhakti Vriksha, he sings quite a few places. Very close friend of, like, at least the young people and me. He is amazing at singing. He's amazing at harmonium. And every now and then, like what happened to me, you know, I'm learning still. So, I mean, I'm going to make mistakes. Every now and then, even though he's so good at it, he'll forget the tune. He'll miss the keys. His voice won't work properly. Why? Because maybe he needs to learn to be humble in those situations. Maybe in that moment, he's become so much full of pride that Krishna wants him to become humble. So if anything, when somebody gives a gift, when Sanjeev gives me a gift, whether I like it or not, we accept the gift. And when I understand that Krishna is giving me the gift through Sanjeev, why would I not receive it with love? Why would I not receive Sanjeev's message with love? Because ultimately, it's for my learning, whatever it comes, good or bad, and it's part of Krishna's plan. Oh, give me a Tesla, huh?
How could you hear that? I just like whispered.
How can I not accept it with love? So when we talk about tolerance is because we have a very shallow vision of life, actually. When we think of tolerance, it's because we have a very shallow vision of life. Because we're not looking at the biggest picture. If we expand our vision, if we expand what we're seeing in life, then we see that whatever is happening is just to help us come closer to Krishna, whether it's good or bad. If that is what our desire is.
Recording in progress.
So, yeah, I'm conscious of time actually. What time is it?
11:20.
Hey, you guys were born. You guys were born. But yeah, I guess I'll end with one thing. This mood of tolerance if we think of a spring, right? A spring. When you compress a spring, it has to tolerate that compression, right? What happens when you let go? It bounces. Okay? So, if we are a spring and we're getting pushed, pressure, tolerate, how we bounce back determines how spiritually deep we are. If our bouncing back is to go, Krishna, this situation, I'm struggling with it, you help me, then what we're realizing is that no matter what is coming in our life, it's just taking us close to Krishna. Or think of a bow, right? You pull the string back, and when you release the arrow, however far you pull the bow back, that's how far the arrow goes, right? That's how the speed. So again, if a devotee is getting pulled back, this issue, this stress, that stress, mum did this, brother did that, there's a tension point, right? That's getting built. And if we're really a devotee by heart, what will happen is that once Krishna decides, that's enough, you will fly towards Krishna. And that's the goal of a spiritualist. Whatever, in the last session we talked about it, we want to always remember Krishna and never forget him. So if stresses, if tensions, if anxieties, if distresses, if insults, any of that comes, and we're like a spring that is ready to bounce back to Krishna, then where's the harm? We just have to learn. We have to learn to understand that there's Krishna's plan, and then just respond with love. Because ultimately, Krishna gave that gift, whether we like it or not. Surrender. Huh?
Questions? One or two.
And like I said, I have zero realization on tolerance. So any questions? Brahma Shirada is very tolerant. Vivyambara Prabhu is very tolerant. And Sanjeev is also very tolerant.
Practicing. Work in progress.
Oh yes, if people do have questions, I guess. Hey, no questions. Amazing.
They're thinking
So
about
who
it.
won then?
Wait, what?
So Brahma, Vishnu, and Mahesh. Who was the thing?
Tolerate, guys, tolerate. Would anybody else like to answer?
They did.
Oh, nobody did? Yeah? Okay. We're tolerating you, don't
You have to. It's Krishna's message. He's trying to teach you something.
Sometimes you tolerate the special people in your life, isn't it?
Yeah, like you right now. Joking. Anybody else? Sorry, what? Everybody's names? Those who joined us?
This is Ashwin's mom and sister. Navneet's friend.
Oh, Jay, your names are?
Bobita. Bobita?
Gobita. Gobita and? Sindhu?
Ja.
Sindhuja. Oh, wow. Thank you. Sure.
So someone asked me this question. It's not about tolerance, but about karma. Why don't we get the fruits of our activities in this life? Why do we have to suffer when we don't even know that we did something? You know, like people tell us that you must have done something in your previous life, so you're suffering. So why does that happen? You should just get it now, right away, and clear. So this is not my question, but
Like Amazon Prime.
Fast delivery.
yeah.
Actually, you don't even need Amazon Prime. You still get next day delivery. Anyway, very nice question. So, question is related to why does karma not act straight away? Good question, right? Ashwin's scared now. So, to give that example again, let's go to scriptures. What's his name? Dhritarashtra. We have the story of Dhritarashtra. Now, does anybody know the story of his previous lives?
One of them.
One?
Like he's the one where he kept him on shooting the bird, like
Mm.
like in one, and then he got blind in his next verse.
Yeah, so would anybody like to elaborate on that story? Or do you want to share it in full?
That's what I really know about it. Like,
Okay.
he kept on shooting the bird's eyes, and the bird got blind, and then like in his next verse, he became blind.
Okay. So, what part of that also is that there was a bird nest, and Dhritarashtra, in his previous life, well, not previous life, but many lifetimes ago, over 100 lifetimes ago, he tried to kill a bird, but the bird flew away, and as a result of that, of trying to kill the bird, he killed all of the bird's chicks. How many chicks were there? 100. So, because of that, the bird was then, okay, right? You killed my 100 chicks. What's going to happen to you?
He's gonna die 100 times.
No, you will lose 100 of your kids. Yeah? But it takes a lot of pious activities to even have a child, one child, let alone 100. You need to do a lot of good activities to have 100 children. So how can he be cursed to lose 100 kids and then immediately have 100 kids to then lose? Because he needs to create that credit to be able to have 100 kids first. So that's why it takes 100 lifetimes for him to accrue enough pious activities, or was it 50 lifetimes? I can't remember now. To be able to accrue pious credits, to be able to have 100 kids, to then lose them. So karma gets very complicated because sometimes we think, okay, it's just simple, right? Like I said, I punch Govind, like Navneet said, if I punch Govind on the arm, I just get a punch back. But if I do something very much complex in my karma, then something equally complex needs to happen for me to get its benefit or reaction. So now we have to calculate, okay, I did this activity, that did this, that did that, and then these three things happened, and then what's my reaction?
So if the karma is not intense, it's only, it's not that bad karma, then does that mean that we'll get it in the same life?
Not necessarily. Because there's so many other karmic activities, like we said, the karmic bank balance, right? There's so many other karmic activities that we've done that it might not even make sense to get it now, because you might need this other karma to also have effect on you to make this impact worthwhile. That probably doesn't help because karma is very complex.
We may not be ready in this life, right, for the karma to be relevant. I don't know, I'm just thinking.
Yeah.
And therefore it has to wait.
Just like Dhritarashtra, he wasn't.
Because the aim of the karma, according to what you've shared, is to help us, So it may not be that in this particular life, that learning is in our best interest.
But then Dhritarashtra didn't know what wrong he did, and he's suffering for it.
But, so there's this misconception, right? We always think that in order to learn something, we need to know what we did wrong. We need to know the cause of what we're trying to learn. But is that necessarily true? Because when you think about life in general, how many things have you had happen to you before you've learnt them? When you go to school, do you have one unit of something and then add one unit and then come up with the concept of this equals 2? No, you get taught 1 + 1 = 2. And so you accept that 2 is the sum of 1 and 1. So in life, we don't actually have to know what happened or how things fit together for us to learn what we need to learn. Krishna will always give us the different facets that we need to learn. But he might not give us the memory, the remembrance of what the original thing was, because it's not important. Think about a car, right? let's see if this example works. Think about a car. When you're driving on the motorway and then the engine goes. Now, are you going to be sitting there and going, okay, let me figure out what went wrong with the car. Why did the engine blow up? What happened? This happened. No, you're going to focus, okay, I've identified that the engine has blown up. Now I need to go and fix the engine. Whether or not I understand why the engine blew up is irrespective of what I need to do right now. You can go your whole life trying to find the root cause of everything. But if you've been walking on the street and you've fallen over, your knees are grazed, blood is coming out, let me find out who's responsible for this pavement to be messed up. No, you're going to go, make sense, let me just focus on trying to fix myself. I'll deal with that later if it's important enough. So the same way, karma is the same way. Is it really important for us to know what was the original activity we did that caused us to have this karma? No, are we learning from whatever we get? And if we're not, then Krishna will make it obvious because it will keep coming back again and again and again.
Just want to make a small point, but like I was in one of Chandramouli Maharaj's class, and then someone asked like, is this why we help those who are still suffering? And then Maharaj goes, yeah, you don't just say that, they're just going through the karma, let them be, and we can't help. We do as much as we can because this karma is so complicated, and you're still trying to get everyone to Krishna consciousness. You gotta have that compassion and still help those that are going through the bad karma. And I just remembered that. I just want to mention that.
Yeah.
In the sense, he was trying to say, don't be like, they're going through the karma, don't help them. But give them the spiritual help, not just any sort of help.
It's important to recognize we have to give the material help to help them come to a stage where they can take the spiritual help. If they're not ready to take spiritual help, then how much material help can we give somebody? Because at the end of the day, spiritual life is where we want to go. And if people aren't ready to take up any spiritual help, then how much energy do you want to spend giving material help?
It's not an intentional rabbit hole here, but just a question.
Okay, I'm down for rabbit holes now.
Okay.
I've already said it's 7:20. I already said it's going to go on. Now it's up to you guys if you want to stay or not.
It's not 7:20, 7:35.
Back when I checked.
Just tolerate him, don't worry.
Right, so just a thought.
Yeah.
Thought, question, just putting it out there. So, just as a concept, if you overly help someone with their karma or something, do you take on the karma? Or if someone is due something because karma wished that for them, and your intervention, therefore they didn't necessarily have to go through that karmic process, do you take that on?
Karma never loses its address.
Never loses its address. Okay, perfect. Thanks.
But when we say karma, it's not only bad, it's good as
Good as well. Yeah.
So when we do good, do we get it right away or we have to wait 100 years?
That can also wait.
Everyone's in a hurry, right? Everyone's in a hurry.
But see, like, all of us here are spiritual in some way, right? Put your hand up if you're not spiritual in some way, to whatever degree. Or trying to practice some sort of spiritual life. Right? Nobody, right? Now, we have to question, do we want so much piety that we then forget Krishna? So we might have done so much good in our life, in our lifetimes. Krishna could decide, Kiran, you've done 50 lifetimes worth of good activities. I'm going to give them to you in this lifetime. But what's that going to do to your spiritual practice? Because we see in the heavenly kingdoms, Indra Vayudev, when they're taking the benefit of all their pious activities, they also sometimes think, you know what, I can relax. Bring me the grapes, bring me the wine. Even they can do that. Because the piety, taking the benefits, you can become so absorbed in all the piety, you can get so absorbed in the good reactions, that you actually forget that you don't want to stay here. You want to go back. We have this understanding that even the demigods are in the material world. Indra, Brahma, Shiva, they're all in the material world. That's why they also get afflicted, like we said in the story earlier. The idea is that we want to even go beyond. And in order to go beyond, we need a bit of that negative reaction. A little bit, at least.
Is it that much or that much?
From Krishna's vision, it's not even this much.
And the material is that much.
Because of our vision, actually. If we have a short vision of life, then that day where my daughter just went complete lunatics. My son went complete lunatics. Becomes such a big day for us. But if we have a vision of eternity, where actually, you know what? What Divyambara Prabhu did to me? Okay. But my focus is on how can I use whatever Divyambara Prabhu has done to me to come closer to Krishna. Because my goal is Krishna. Same way at work. People who have career plans. Somebody might do something stupid at work. But we capitalize on it, right? We capitalize on it because we have our 10-year plan. I remember speaking to somebody quite a few times actually about how their bosses don't do their job properly. So they take on the responsibilities. Why? Because then that helps them get to the next post quicker. Because you take on the responsibilities of the seniors, and what happens? You learn what they do, and therefore you can apply to jobs that are higher post. And I already do this, You have the experience under your belt. So in the same way in spiritual life, we can look at it as going, okay, fine, I don't like the fact that the Divine Prabhu showered at me like this. But you know what? Who cares? How can I use that to help me come closer to Krishna? Maybe it's so burning for us because it's my sister, it's my brother, it's my niece, it's my nephew. Maybe we don't like it. But you know what? How can I use this to come closer to Krishna? Maybe we've lost the love of our life. So much distress. Damsel in distress time. But how can we use that to come closer to Krishna? Because at the end of the day, everything that is given is there for us to learn. At the end of the day, whatever happens is according to Sanjeev's plan. No, Krishna's plan. And the third thing is? Yeah, we just receive with love.
If someone keeps swearing at you, take it with love. Accept it with love.
Love doesn't mean that we become doormats. Love does not mean that. Because if somebody is constantly swearing at you, is that healthy for them? It's not healthy for you because you can't take it. Is it healthy for them? So we have to use intelligence to understand that tolerance doesn't just mean that we just keep going back to the same person again and again, I'm ready for Bhavish to just give me an earful now, Next day again, I'm ready for Bhavish to give me an earful. Tolerance means that we understand and our vision is for the bigger picture. Bhavish has done this to me today. Maybe he's having a bad day. He's doing it now tomorrow as well. And now 3 days in a row? Something's not right. We might then have to say, in order for that loving relationship to make sure that things are healthier for Bhavesh and healthier for me, I need to remove myself for some time. We might have to step back. Because it's not healthy for Bhavesh to keep swearing, to keep being, showcasing animosity towards me. It's not healthy for him. So tolerance doesn't mean that we just keep going back and taking the same negativity again and again. It means that we have a purpose for removing ourselves based on how it's going to help them, how it's going to help me, and it's how it's going to affect my relationship with Krishna.
What about if in between you have duties and responsibilities?
That depends on situations. But again, what is your duty? What is duty? A husband will say, my wife's duty is to just make sure that the dinner table is ready for me when I get home. As soon as I walk through the door, a glass of water should be ready right there. I come to the table, the food is right there. She takes off my jacket, places it on the thing. Is that duty? Is that the duty? No, right? That's not the duty. So
Expectation.
that's expectation. So I have to assess, what is my duty? Or am I trying to fulfill an expectation? Because the duty of a wife is to be a dharampatni, is to support the spiritual progress of both the couple and the family. That's the core, central part of the duty. For both husband and wives, dharampati, dharampatni. And as part of that, that might mean that yes, you accept that there are certain family chores that you do, certain things that husband does, certain things that children do. But at its core, the duty of a husband, of a wife, is to be dharampati and dharampatni. So we have to question, are we trying to fulfill duties or are we trying to fulfill expectations?
So, but you seem to have a lot of knowledge around tolerance and so on. So, how comes you didn't apply that to when you did have those outbursts, rather than tolerating it? You had the outbursts. So.
Yeah, so I know I mentioned this to maybe a couple of devotees here. See, we can take this, I've spoken so much today, a lot of you guys are reading, a lot of you guys are listening to other classes, lectures, etc. Why is it that I just read about tolerance, I just heard about tolerance and I can't apply it now? Right? We just read about humility. The next moment, Lee just gave me a nice praise. She's understood who I really am, I'm a great devotee, great personality. I'm just waiting for others to realize this. Because knowledge, we went through this with Gita Life actually. There's this idea of Shravanam, then Mananam, and then Nididhyasanam. And then there's also Vandanam in the middle as well. Vandanam is prayer. So what is Shravanam? Shravanam is when we've heard or when we've read something. We just heard about tolerance. 3 things to apply for tolerance. But then we have to contemplate on it. We have to do mananam on it. We have to actually not just leave it in, like as soon as you exit the door, it's not, thank you for the nice prasadam, Kiran, and then leave. Okay, we have to think about what we've just heard. Think about it deeply. Look at situations in life where we didn't practice what we've heard. See what we could have done differently. And then Nididhyasanam is when we apply it. Where we go, okay, the next time, I'm going to try and be tolerant. When Zankana does this to me, I'm going to try and tolerate Zankana. Now I might not do it. I might completely lose the plot again. But we have to remember we've made progress, because remember I said tolerance, spiritual tolerance is not about material success, but I didn't say it's about spiritual success either. It's about spiritual progress. Before, I wasn't tolerant. When Zankana did something to me, I immediately reacted back. I gave her a taste of her own medicine. But now, I've listened to this, I've done some thinking about it, contemplating. Zankana's done something to me. I'm still maybe giving her a taste of her medicine, but then I'm going, I didn't want to do that. I just heard about tolerance. I don't want to burst out. I want to tolerate. But I've made progress, because before I wasn't consciously thinking about, okay, I need to tolerate. But now I'm thinking, I'm still doing what I'm doing, but I'm thinking, in my mind, I'm regretting that I've done something. And then what will happen? Zankana does something again. And I'll be like, I really want to say this thing. But then I'll be like Brahma, no, you know. My intelligence tells me no. And then Zankana will do something. And I'll be like, okay, Zankana did something. What am I meant to learn from it? I'll tell you the top tip of this one. Stay away from Zankana. But no, like this, it's progress, not perfection.
It's practice, you've got to practice it.
Practice.
Practice to become perfect.
Exactly. People say fake it till you make it, but the real term is practice till you make it. Okay. People are hungry.
We won't tolerate it.
Yeah, I know. So, would you like to say any final words?
Thank you so much.
No, not about this, about all of this.
That's what I'm saying. Thank you so much.
Okay. I don't know if that helps, but Hare Krishna. Yeah, it's nice to see that Navneet's friends and family have come. So thank you. That's good. Actually, sorry, let me just do this. Wow, I'm actually still on. Amazing. Ever the other way, no? Meenakshi with what's it? Would you actually elaborate on that, Meenakshi? If you had anything. Unless it's like, you know, it's fine. Okay, fine. Okay. Maybe we can end there. Yes? I mean, you guys can extend it for 3-4 hours. I don't know, but... yeah. When I speak for 1 hour, that's enough for me.
He's not kidding.
Okay, we're done, right? Okay.
Maybe Baushbu can do Nrsimha Pranam whilst the
Oh yeah, we
Prasadam.
Okay, thank you. Vanchaka Patrubhisya Patim